all the Philadelphia Eagles fans among us, congratulations on your Super Bowl win last Sunday. Your team played flawlessly and certainly deserved to lift the Lombardi Trophy. And to the Chiefs fans, let's be honest, it wasn't much of a game. Despite all the hype, the game itself left a lot to be desired, even if you are an Eagles fan. Regardless, job well done, Philadelphia. The most interesting conversations I've been a part of about last Sunday's game were around the commercials. First thing on Monday, the morning TV host shared rankings of the ads from a survey done by USA Today. The rankings listed the top 3 in reverse order. Number 3 was the Ultra Hustle. Older actors challenged much younger professional athletes to a pickleball game in an attempt to win the youngsters' Michelob Ultra. And the oldsters won every game. I love playing pickleball, and I love it when the old people win. The number 2 commercial was named The Little Farmer. A young daughter of potato farmers planted her own potato plant, carefully tended it, and finally added the potato she grew to the family's crop, loaded and headed to a Lay's factory to become chips. This true story of Wisconsin farmers and their daughter's commitment to follow in the family business really tugged at the heartstrings. And number 1 was, of course, the Budweiser Clydesdales. A young foal named Jake was told that he was too young to go along on a delivery run. When a keg fell off the wagon as it left the barn, Jake pushed it across the country using his nose all the way to the delivery destination. Jake then walked into a bar where he found his driver, who gave Jake a big hug. I wanted them to end this ad with Jake leading the big team back to the barn, but it didn't. So. My favorite ad was the What is Greatness from the He Gets Us organization. The commercial showed people helping others different from themselves. A white man pressure washing away a hate message from the home of a brown family. A black woman offering help to a white man sitting on the grocery store floor crying. A white Christian man wearing a John 3:16 cap hugging a brown man at a pride rally. And a black police officer kneeling to talk with a brown woman who appeared to be homeless. There's even Superman rappelling down a building to the hospital window of a sick little boy. The message that He Gets Us shares is that Jesus taught us what true greatness really is. We don't have to be highly trained professional athletes to show greatness. We can reflect greatness through small, selfless acts for the folks that we meet every day. For me, this was the ad that transcended the commercialism of an event watched by 127.7 million viewers. Yes, there was great athleticism, I have trouble with that word, coaching and planning on the part of the city of New Orleans, all important to a successful Super Bowl. But He Gets Us snatched us from the field of play back up to the 10,000-foot view to remind us of true greatness. A colleague I have the privilege of working with on leadership and conflict transformation skills training uses a similar illustration. She teaches that leadership is not simply standing on the balcony watching couples dance on the floor below, nor is it standing up there directing all the people in your life who are dancing. Being up high to see the big picture is important, but it's just as important that we spend time on the dance floor actually interacting and dancing with the people in our lives. My colleague makes the point that we've got to be a dancer as well as an observer. As leaders in whatever role God has gifted us, and we all have a role, we join Jesus on the balcony to see the big picture, and we join Jesus down on the dance floor of everyday life with whoever shows up to dance with us. The focus of our gospel reading today is the Beatitudes found in Luke. Now, the Beatitudes are found in both Matthew and Luke, and each in their own way give us the balcony view and the dance floor view. Today we get Luke's version from the Sermon on the Plain or Level Place. Before beginning to preach, Jesus went up the mountain to pray, and he prayed throughout the night. As day dawns, he calls all the disciples following him to come up on the mountain. From that group, Jesus named the 12 apostles. As an aside, disciples and apostles are not the same descriptors, although we tend to use the terms interchangeably. While every apostle is a disciple, most disciples are not apostles. Disciple is from the Greek for learner and is used in the New Testament to refer to people who believed in Jesus and followed him. Apostles mean one who was sent. Apostles have the authority of the person who sent them. The 12 were called by Jesus to spread the gospel and to establish what was to become the early church, with the aid of disciples, of course. Now back to the Sermon on the Plain. Jesus calls these newly minted apostles to go with him to a level place. They were surrounded by a great crowd of disciples and even a greater multitude of people from all over the region who came to see and hear Jesus. By telling us where all of these folks were from, all of these disciples and regular people, Luke is telling us that the crowd represented both Jews and Gentiles, a very diverse crowd for that time. Many there wanted to be healed of diseases and cured of unclean spirits. In your mind's eye, you can see this big group of sick and hurting people from all over the area clamoring to touch Jesus. The scriptures tell us that power came out of him and healed all of them. Jesus treated all equally, and everyone could be included in his healing and teaching. It's interesting to see that before Jesus taught, he served. He cared for the people's needs so that they could then listen to him. So, here we have Luke's Jesus dancing with the regular Jane Does and John Does of his day. People who were hurt and sick and grieving. People who were poor, hungry, and tired. And people who were tired of tending to the rich people who seemed to have it all. And there Jesus is, right in the middle of all of them. That's the Jesus Luke writes about. Now, Matthew's Jesus, who preaches from the mountain, is a juxtaposition to Luke's. Matthew's Jesus is similar to Moses, who went up into the clouds of Mount Sinai to receive the law. Jesus' Sermon on the Mount and the Beatitudes speaks of a new covenant in which Jesus shows how this new community of believers and followers is to live. Jesus teaches a new way of living in relation to God and neighbor, of how we can become righteous, merciful, and pure in heart, how we can become peacemakers. Jesus teaches the Christian life to which we aspire. In Matthew, Jesus has moved up to the balcony to remind us of the big picture of how we live with the God we love and the neighbor we are working really hard on trying to love. Matthew and Luke, in their Beatitudes, set the pattern for Christian life. Following Matthew, we gather in community on Saturday or Sunday or Wednesday or whatever day works for you to study the Scriptures and receive Holy Communion, to hear the words of Jesus and be reminded of what it means to live as an observant Christian. We come in from the dance floors of our lives to hear again the one who is the example we strive to pattern our lives after as we look up to Jesus in the balcony. We come here to find Jesus once again. But before leaving worship, we climb up to join Jesus in the balcony to get the 10,000-foot view of what needs doing in our community in the coming days. We follow Jesus down from the balcony to dance with the least and the last and the lost. On those days in which we are serving, like in the He Gets Us ad, we go out and wash away hate-filled graffiti and support, feed, and listen to hurting people different from us. I think that it's on those days when we serve where we are most likely to find Jesus. Yep, we'll find him here at church, but I think he's easier to see in the world. He's really easy to see. He'll be the one holding the pressure washer, or kneeling down to listen, or dressing up like Superman to give a small, sick child hope. He'll also be the one looking up to us, asking, "So what are you going to do to help? Will you get down here and help me?"